today we want to talk about the theme that leaders are innovators. Leaders are innovators. And, well, who better to kick this off with than the innovator of all innovators, I suppose, Elon Musk. Now, the other day, I was watching an interview with Jay Leno, who goes around and looks at interviews people around their cars and stuff like that. Now, he actually wasn't really interviewing Elon around his cars. He was interviewing him around another vehicle, his spaceships. Yeah, he was going on this tour through SpaceX and where they're building everything. It was absolutely incredible. Great interview. You should go check that out. It's available on YouTube. And there was one thing that Elon said that really, really, really stood out to me. And it was this, Jay Leno asked him, was like, with all this stuff you're creating, with all these innovations you have, you must have a lot of patents. And Elon's reply, as usual, was, a retweetable quote, which was quite amazing, where he just says, "Patents are for the weak. Patents are for the weak," which I thought was really interesting because obviously big corporations, that's part of their IP. And Dr. Rod, you and I spoke a few weeks ago about IP and the value of that as well. But it was really interesting how he was able to push past that and just say, hey, look, we've got to innovate. We as a company have to be on the front foot of innovations. Patents cause us to play defensive rather than offensive. It causes us to stop and try to protect what we've got rather than moving forward and being better. And he goes, if I put patents, it stops innovations. He goes, one thing that I really love about Elon is he is so aligned with his purpose. He can focus on the mission, not necessarily the money, which is easy to say when you're one of the richest men on the planet. But he does live it out by living a very reasonably simple lifestyle, selling all his possessions, living in like a $40,000 house and all that sort of stuff. But it's really interesting that he says, look, it's our job to push forward, to innovate, to change the combustible engine and to change space travel and change how we live on different planets, everything like that. We can't do that if we're all stuck behind patents. Dr. Rod, what's your take on being a leader and innovating and, I suppose, finding that balance between the protection of your innovation but moving forward and not looking backwards?
Well, look, there's no doubt that Elon Musk is an innovator. He's the innovator's innovator. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, he moves so fast that it's quite true. Going through the patenting process would really slow him down and would probably be deleterious to his own business model.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that in his context, what he says is absolutely true. And it's really refreshing to hear somebody who doesn't want to hide behind the protection of patents. However, for many of us, the patent process is quite good because it provides opportunity for those who are creative, the innovators, to actually get a return on their investment of time and any financial investment that they might have made in their own innovation.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's one of these things which has both a plus side and a minus side. And I would say if we're speaking to leaders who are a little like Elon Musk, who are forward thinkers, rapid innovators, and who have money behind them as he did and as he does, then don't worry about the patent system and don't worry about worrying about the patent system. Go ahead. The other thing I would say too, of course, is be led by God as a leader in this thing too. And you see, some of us, of course, would understand that it is God who's made us creative. God gives us the creative ideas, and those creative ideas are for the benefit of the whole of humankind. So a lot of it's going to depend on where we come from in terms of how we express our understanding of Christian worldview in the first place. But as someone who's got a degree in economics, a couple of degrees actually in economics, and a long time teaching economics, I can see that the patenting system definitely has some pluses, particularly in industries where there's a very long gestation period in new products.
Yeah.
For example, in medicines and so on. But look, in these fast-moving, highly technological areas, you're probably better off to be like Elon Musk and just spend your time, your money, and all your energy innovating, because you'll stay one step ahead of the crowd that way.
Yeah, that's so true. It's we should be focusing our efforts as leaders on constantly innovating in our organization, innovating even just in ourselves, innovate ourselves. How are we becoming better leaders? How are we innovating? How we're leading other people, but also in our organization, how much more can we innovate ahead of everyone else in our industry? It's not about competition. It's not about me versus you, and because that's not kingdom. Kingdom doesn't, the kingdom, obviously with, the patents and everything like that. Obviously, Dr. Rod, you've mentioned that there are some good reasons for patents, and agreed. But the way that Jay Leno asked this question of Elon, and the way that Elon answered it, it was just such an abundant mindset. There's plenty to go around. He knows that he wants other car manufacturers to innovate in electric vehicles. He doesn't want to be the only person. He doesn't want to be the only person going to Mars. He's innovating to make sure he can do it, but he knows that he's not going to achieve that ultimate vision if he's the only person doing it. And it's not a them or us mentality. It's a let's do this together. And you may have, let's call them competitors in your industry, but rather than looking at them as competitors, what if you looked at them as partners, people that are all working together, trying to bring forward the quality and the service of the industry? I speak about that we've recently moved here to the Dominican Republic, and my aim is I want to help people in the Dominican Republic, like businesses, certain business owners that I'm starting to work with, that I've spoken to them. I said, I want to help you guys become industry leaders. Yes, so you can become more wealthy, but what I could do is, the old saying that all boats rise with the tide. Like if I can get you guys to operate at a higher standard, that's only going to bring everyone else's standards up. And what if we were that way, that we're trying to challenge our industry to move forward and to grow and improve, rather than trying to defend and block? And just think about that. Think about how much time a business, an organization, or maybe even you spend trying to be defensive against competitors. What if you even joined arms? What if you shared? What if there was some way that you could, because there's probably one part of the business that you're really good at, one part of the business they're really good at. You could all share. One of my clients, she's a funeral director, and she's on a mission to shift her industry, the funeral industry, and she did that by actually forming a part of an industry body of all these people that they're all sharing ways to improve technology as a way to improve things, rather than it being this really everyone's in a silo and everyone's separated. Dr. Rod, how can we collaborate with other people in our industry while still making sure, like, the abundant mindset, there is enough to go around for everyone, but we do have to make sure we protect ourselves? How do we find that balance?
Well, as always, good question. Not so easy to answer. I think the first thing we've got to settle in our own hearts and minds is that we work for God.
Yeah.
In other words, God is our boss. Whatever position we lead from, God is our boss, and we trust in him. So whatever happens, we have already made up our minds that we will trust in God.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing. And the second is, we don't really need to worry if our ideas are used by somebody else, because God is our provider and our protector ultimately. Now, that doesn't mean to say we should be unwise. And I think in a case like patents, definitely there are some circumstances under which it would be wise to get a patent.
Yeah.
However, that's a big process and an expensive process, and you need to decide whether or not that's actually going to be worthwhile, or whether you're nimble enough to stay one step ahead of everybody else. Craig, you mentioned the whole idea that we're not really in competition with our brothers and sisters. I agree with that. If we come out with the top market share, it should be because we are the best in our industry at solving the problem that our product or products are designed to solve. So our focus, as you rightly say, should always be on our product. Yep. We should always be asking ourselves, and answering for that matter, the question, are we doing all that we can to solve the problem that we have identified? Because people are paying for a solution to a problem.
Yeah, that's good.
Whatever industry we're in, ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're providing a solution. And there's competition, obviously, between the various solutions that are on offer. But that doesn't mean that as Christians in business, we are literally competing against our brothers and sisters who are in the same industry, or indeed anybody else who is in the same industry. And I don't think we should fear helping one of our competitors if they're doing it tough, because that is always really a good thing, perhaps the right thing to do as a Christian. And I've used this picture before, of course, of farmers in rural communities helping each other in times of crisis, where there's a fire or a flood. They don't act as if they're in competition with one another. They act as if they are neighbours, and often they literally are.
Yeah.
We really should bring that thinking into the business world, and that there's our so-called competitors. They're people like us whom God loves. We need to show them love. And for those who are not Christian, of course, we need to be doing everything that we can to make them disciples of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We it's not a patent, but it's trademark. We have trademarked our brand, and that's something that you should do, is protect your brand. But we spend all our time and money in investing in the right trademarks. And just before launch, probably about a month or so ago, we found that someone else was using a very, very similar trademark to ours, although they were using the very similar brand in a similar industry, everything like that. And we actually decided, you know what, we could fight them, and because they're infringing on trademarks. But you know what? They're fulfilling a purpose. We're all fulfilled. Like they're contributing to our ultimate mission as well. We don't have to be the ones that fulfill the ultimate mission. We just want the mission achieved. And so we decided, you know what? We're going to cop the financial loss and resubmit trademarks, change all our branding, and we probably spent about $20,000 on rebranding and the time it took and the legal fees and everything like that. But I actually, we all agreed that, it's better just to, bless them. I mean, they have no idea that this even happened, because we're like, let's just leave it alone, leave them to fulfill their mission, and that's fine. We'll change our stuff, and that's part of the way we need to be in the kingdom. Is we can't, yes, we need to protect ourselves. Yes, you need to protect with something. Protect your brand. Do everything you can. I own all the URLs, every possible URL I can of that. Or we have the trademark of the, but then when it comes to protecting that, you know what? Is it really worth the legal fight to fight other people? Or should we all be championing and encouraging each other along the way? So a question or a statement from Elon Musk: patents are for the weak. The question is, are you innovating or are you protecting? Are you trying to play defense or are you playing offense as a leader? Hey, that was an excerpt from our On the Cube Leadership podcast. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, put a comment below. And if you want to see more content like this, faith-based leadership development content, make sure you check out our channel, give it a subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified when we release new content.